Just so you know, I'm actually recording this video from work, hence the scenery. The other thing too is I have the questions over here, so if I go like this, you know why I'm answering your questions. Nevertheless, this is Breather35 answering your questions. First up, let's begin with the question from LBFC17. There's a few parts to his question, so I'll do my best to try and answer them. First part is, who's your favourite indie star and promotion? At the moment, I don't have an actual favourite indie star. I do have favourite indie stars, those being the Young Bucks. But if I was to do like a individual favourite indie star, one thing I do enjoy doing is supporting New Zealand wrestlers who are wrestling in indie promotions, especially around the world. So I'm talking about the likes of Travis Banks, Bad Luck Fale, even Evie's doing real awesome stuff. And just today, Travis Banks just won a Progress tournament. So if he's ever watching this video, shout out to Travis Banks and all the best going forward. And hopefully one day we'll see him in the WWE. In regards to a favourite indie promotion, I don't know if you would call this an indie promotion, but I'd go with Ring of Honor, ROH. I've enjoyed their product for quite a while, but the only other indie promotion that I can think of that I'm a bit of a fan of outside of New Zealand is probably Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, being that a lot of my favourite current WWE superstars at one point or another have wrestled through PWG, and I've heard a lot about PWG and I've got a few of their DVDs, but yeah, I'll go that route. Next part of his question is, how do I think Adam Cole will go in WWE? I just hope that he does well in WWE. To me, I believe that the wrestlers coming from TNA are doing better than the ones who have come from ROH. I'm thinking of like Roderick Strong, who came from ROH and is now wrestling in NXT. I believe he may become an NXT champion, but I wouldn't be surprised if he goes through NXT without holding any of those titles and then coming up to the main roster. But yeah, all the best to Adam Cole while he's in WWE. Going on to the next question, shout out to my boy Mr. Hollywood 52485. He has a few questions. One is, if I had to book a triple threat, one from Raw, one from SmackDown, and one from NXT, who wins? I would go for every main title champion from each roster to be a part of a triple threat. So that's Brock Lesnar from Raw, Jinder Mahal from SmackDown, and Bobby Roode from NXT, the three main roster, whatever you want to call it, champions going at it. And if I was going to book a champion, I would give it to Jinder Mahal. And that's not because I prefer the SmackDown product over the Raw product or whatever, but I think everybody would be going with Bobby Roode, and Brock Lesnar hardly ever wrestles in WWE anyway, and I think just for the shock factor, I would go for Jinder Mahal to come out on top in that triple threat. The other question he asked is, favourite movie of all time? I don't watch a whole heap of movies. I'm more of a sports person, so I'm usually watching ESPN or sports on television. But if there's a movie that I really enjoy, maybe Full Metal Jacket. I really enjoy the way that movie was put together. It's actually the first army movie that I ever watched, and I guess it's got a bit of a nostalgia feel to it as well, because the first time I saw that movie, my brother had just entered the New Zealand Army, so I'm going to go with that movie there, Metal Gear Jacket. And the other part to my brother being is that when he came out on a bit of a break, that was one of the movies he picked up, he put on, and I watched it with him. So I guess a bit of nostalgia in that answer there. Last question is, besides WrestleMania, what wrestling event would I want to attend live? I would really like to attend a New Japan Pro Wrestling Wrestle Kingdom event. The event that I've seen in the past, this year's Wrestle Kingdom as well as last year's Wrestle Kingdoms. Those are the only two Wrestle Kingdoms that I've actually seen, but they look awesome. I would love to be a part of the attendance at the Tokyo Dome. Okay, moving along to Amanda 450 Splash. Shout out to you. Who inspired / motivated you to make YouTube videos talking about wrestling? First time I ever tried to look up anything wrestling on YouTube, I came across a person by the name of Mr. Wrestling 1980. Reason being was that I was just interested to see if anybody had any LJN figures, and he popped up on my screen. Checked them out. Of course, there's the usual suspects that were part of me doing these wrestling videos. Stevie Breach, Assault and Battery 777, also Miss WWE Fan 13, they were 3, and also Gemini 888 and Boston Fan 79V1. But if it was going to be one particular person from all of those names I've mentioned, it would probably be maybe Boston Fan 79V1. Perhaps I think it might have been him. I think I just liked the way that he just showed manners, and he was really appreciative of people coming to check out his videos, and I thought it was really cool, and so that's how I got into talking wrestling. Prior to doing wrestling videos though, I was doing a lot of Jersey videos. I'm still a Jersey head at heart, and right now I'm just waiting for jerseys that I haven't already got to arrive in New Zealand, but there haven't been a lot of jerseys that have arrived down here which have caught my interest, so hence why that part sort of slowed down. Anyway, going on to the next question. What are some pros and cons about being a wrestling fan living in New Zealand? Being a pro in New Zealand, I'll go with where I live. A pro living where I am is that we have our own independent wrestling promotion, Southland Pro Wrestling, aka SPW, and they're real cool guys if you get to meet and greet them. One thing I like about what they're doing at the moment is the next event that they're doing in July. They're actually bringing Will Ospreay to Aotearoa, New Zealand shores, to the place where I live, and it's the only New Zealand event that he's taking part in. So that's really cool, and hence why I purchased a Will Ospreay Ring of Honor t-shirt and all that kind of thing in a previous video. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention to LBFC 17, outside of the New Zealand independent wrestlers, I really enjoy Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet. Those are probably 3 independent wrestlers that I enjoy watching that don't actually come from New Zealand. Sorry, had to add that in. In regards to cons, there's probably more cons than pros being a wrestling fan in New Zealand. Cons is probably I don't have a lot of people around me that are into professional wrestling. Biggest one, of course, is always going to be it's so far to get a WrestleMania event. So that's probably the hugest. The other thing too is being a wrestling fan in New Zealand, when you purchase overseas, sometimes the cost of posting or shipping those things to New Zealand can be almost up to half the price or half the cost of your purchase. So that's a real downfall. So, Amanda 450 Splash, I hope that answered your question. Okay, getting on to TN Couponer. Looking forward to watching the Q&A video. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for being a humble person, bro. Making a comment on all of my videos and all that kind of stuff. Thanks so much. Some of his questions. First one, if you could had to make 4-man stable from today's wrestlers and from any company, who would you choose and why? For wrestlers, I'd have a tag team, the Young Bucks. I'd also have AJ Styles and Kevin Owens. And the main reason why I would have those 4 are because those 4 wrestlers are 4 of my favourite wrestlers that I enjoy watching. Yeah, I'll just go with that. I'm going to cop out. Second part is, if you could have dinner with any 4 people, dead or alive, who would you choose and why? That's a tough question. One person that I'd probably want to have a conversation with would be, I'm going to go with All Alive people because, yeah, I'll go that route. Alive, The Rock, because he's my favourite WWE superstar. Second, Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan because he's my favourite sports athlete of all time. Third and fourth, that's a real tricky one. Third, fourth, yeah. Who would I go with? Third, this person actually deceased, sorry, didn't mean to mention this name, but third would probably be my namesake. And fourth would be probably my grandmother, because I never got to meet my grandmother, and the reason why I would want to see my namesake again is because there's a lot of times in my life where I didn't get to spend enough time with him, and it's probably one of the things that I regret in life. But yeah, so thanks for your questions. Next one, Dawn Day Evolution. Was there a year when you fell out of wrestling but then jumped back into it later on? I can't really say I have jumped off the wrestling bandwagon at all. If there's ever been a time where I haven't watched it, it's just because the wrestling wasn't available in my area at the time. For example, when I was watching wrestling, it was on late at night, and I couldn't watch it because I'm a young guy at that time, and I couldn't watch it. And the other part to that one as well was that when I was younger, and I think I mentioned this before, because us young people back in those days were wrestling in schools, and there was this big debate about all of us young fellas being influenced, our fascination with WWF at the time. What happened was that it was banned off our TV, so we never got to watch it. So there was a whole kind of decade kind of feel where we couldn't get no wrestling. So there's been those times. The other part of that as well is that wrestling went from being on free TV to pay TV, and sometimes I couldn't afford to have pay TV, so I couldn't keep up with the wrestling product. So I hope that answers your question. But thank you so much for asking your question. Going on to Mr. Paul JB44. He's got a few questions here. Favorite NXT superstar? I'm not too sure if you mean currently or of all time, but it's Kevin Owens all time. Right now, I'll probably have to go with Bobby Roode. Favorite basketball team? Don't have one, but if I'm going to cop out on this one, I would say Team USA. Favorite match of 2017 so far? By far, the Rainmaker versus Kenny Omega at Wrestle Kingdom. Yep, definitely 6 stars. Favorite indie wrestler that isn't in Bullet Club? That's a tough one, but I'll just go with the answers that I've mentioned before. New Zealand wrestlers doing their thing around the world in independent wrestling, as well as Will Ospreay, Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet. And if I'm going to add just another name in there, I'll put Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan because he has a YouTube channel, and when he's doing that thing, he's pretty chill. So yeah, I'm going to go with that. Thoughts on Marty being in the Bullet Club? I think we sort of knew that he was going to be a part of the Bullet Club. I mean, he was doing a lot of Being the Elite videos, so you knew he was going to get some kind of initiation, but to see that it was at the hands of kicking Adam Cole bye out of Bullet Club, that was a bit of a surprise, but I think he'll do pretty well. And those are all of the questions that were actually asked on my question and answer video. I want to thank everybody for asking your questions, and don't forget, tomorrow I'll be announcing the winners to my giveaway. Until next time, somebody to sweet man.